There comes a moment in every person's life when they grow weary of being controlled, manipulated, and made to question their own worth. You've given everything, your time, your love, your patience, only to be met with coldness and pride. But today, something changes. Today you rise. You learn that the power to make a narcissist chase you isn't found in games or deceit. It's found in strength, in faith, and in knowing who you are. When you stand firm in your truth, when you stop pleading for validation, the tables begin to turn. You become the light that cannot be dimmed, the peace that cannot be disturbed, and the mystery that cannot be owned. The narcissist thrives on control, but they cannot control someone who has found peace within themselves. They cannot manipulate someone who no longer needs their approval. This journey is not about revenge. It's about redemption. It's about reclaiming the dignity that was once taken, the voice that was once silenced, and the confidence that was buried beneath their lies. These 5 powerful shifts will show you how to rise with quiet confidence, to stand so tall in your self-worth that even the one who tried to break you can't help but be drawn back to your strength. Because when your spirit awakens, when your heart learns that it was never meant to beg for love but to radiate it, that's when the true chase begins. There comes a point when you realize that the more you chase, the further they run. You give your energy, your attention, your peace, all in the hope that one day they will finally see your worth. But the truth is, people don't value what is handed to them freely. They value what they have to earn. When you stop chasing, you begin to change the rhythm of the entire game. The power shifts. The one who once controlled the dance suddenly finds themselves offbeat because the music they moved to was your attention. And when that music stops, they start searching for it again. Reverse the game by choosing yourself. That doesn't mean ignoring people or playing hard to get. It means recognizing that your value doesn't decrease when someone fails to see it. You become magnetic the moment you stop seeking validation and start living from a place of confidence and peace. People feel that energy. The narcissist, especially, feels it because they feed on control. And when you remove that control, they begin to crave the energy they once took for granted. It starts with small decisions. Not replying immediately. Not explaining yourself, not proving your worth. You let silence speak for you. You let your calm unsettle their chaos. You stand tall in who you are, and you move like someone who knows that their time, their heart, their energy are treasures. And treasures are not handed to those who fail to protect them. When you stop chasing, you send a message. I am no longer a player in your game. I am the prize you can no longer reach. They will come back, not because you manipulated them, but because you finally saw your reflection clearly and refused to dim your light for their comfort. You stopped dancing to their tune and created your own rhythm. That's when the tables turn. That's when attraction replaces pursuit. Because real power isn't in running after someone to make them stay. It's in walking away with grace. Knowing that if they truly saw your worth, they'd never let you go. So stop chasing and start attracting. Let your peace, your purpose, your growth become your greatest revenge. Because nothing makes a narcissist chase faster than realizing the person they tried to break has built themselves into something they can no longer reach. There is a power that most people overlook, a strength that doesn't come from shouting, arguing, or proving a point. It comes from silence. The kind of silence that speaks with confidence, the kind that says, I no longer need to explain myself to someone who refuses to understand. Indifference is not coldness, it's wisdom. It's the realization that your peace is worth more than their chaos. That not every battle deserves your energy, and not every attack deserves your response. When you become indifferent, you strip the narcissist of their favorite weapon, reaction. They crave it, they live for it, and they measure their power through it. Every sigh, every tear, every frustrated word fuels their control. But when you stop giving them that, when your silence becomes your shield, they lose their grip. They start to wonder what changed, why their words no longer cut, why their manipulation no longer works. That confusion is where your power begins. Indifference doesn't mean you stop caring about yourself or the truth. It means you rise above the noise. You no longer chase clarity from someone who thrives in confusion. You no longer beg for peace from someone who enjoys conflict. Instead, you create your own peace, and you guard it like the treasure it is. Your silence becomes your boundary, your calm becomes your weapon, and your indifference becomes your armor. You are no longer reacting. You are observing, and in that observation, you hold the power. It takes strength to hold your tongue when your heart is burning to speak. It takes courage to walk away when your pride wants to stay and prove a point. But that restraint, that quiet confidence, is what breaks their hold on you. Because nothing terrifies a narcissist more than losing control of your emotions. They thrive on seeing you shaken. They need your reaction to feel alive. So when you meet their drama with calm, their insults with silence, their manipulation with stillness, you take back everything they tried to steal. Your peace, your dignity, your strength. Let silence be your statement. Let indifference be your message. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone who's blind to it. The moment you master the power of indifference, you become untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. You become free. There's something magnetic about mystery, something powerful about not being predictable. The moment people think they can read you, they stop respecting you. Especially a narcissist who feeds on predictability, who studies your every move just to control your reactions. They thrive when they know how you'll respond, when they can push your buttons and predict the outcome. So the secret is simple: stop being predictable. Become the mystery they can't decode. When they expect anger, give them peace. When they expect weakness, give them silence. When they expect you to chase, stand still. Confuse their expectations and watch the balance of power shift right before their eyes. Unpredictability doesn't mean you play games or fake emotions. It means you stop giving them access to your rhythm. You take back control of your narrative. You stop broadcasting your next move. And instead, you move in silence. You let your growth speak for you. Narcissists can't stand uncertainty because uncertainty means they're not in control. And when they can't predict your behavior, they begin to lose their sense of dominance. That's when they start chasing, not because they suddenly love you, but because they need to understand how they lost control. Becoming unpredictable is about embracing change within yourself. If you used to react, now you reflect. If you used to beg for closure, now you find peace in letting go. If you used to answer every call, now you choose when and if to respond. You're no longer living by their design, you're setting your own pace. The more you evolve, the less they recognize you, and the more they're drawn to figure you out again. But what they don't realize is, you're no longer the same person they once manipulated. You've grown, and growth confuses control. When you master unpredictability, you become powerful in a way they can't understand. You become the one who moves in silence, who doesn't need to announce every decision, who doesn't justify every action. That kind of strength is rare, and rare things are always chased. So don't be predictable. Don't be an open book for someone who only wants to rewrite your story. Be the mystery they can't solve, the calm they can't disturb, the strength they can't control. Because once you become unpredictable, you become unforgettable. There comes a time when you finally understand that your worth was never meant to be measured by someone else's approval. You spent too long trying to prove that you were enough, trying to earn love from someone who made you feel small just to feel big themselves. But when you choose self-worth over approval, everything changes. The chase ends and the healing begins. You stop begging for validation from those who never intended to give it, and you start giving that validation to yourself. That's the moment you take your power back. Self-worth is not arrogance, it's awareness. It's knowing who you are, even when others try to convince you that you're less. It's standing tall, even when the world tries to shrink you. When you live for approval, you hand your power to anyone who offers you attention. But when you live from self-worth, you stand in your truth, and that truth becomes unshakable. Narcissists hate that. They thrive on your insecurities, on your need to be seen. So, when you no longer seek their praise, when you no longer dance for their applause, they lose their control. That's the ultimate role reversal. The one who used to chase approval becomes the one who is now chased for validation. You start to move differently when you know your worth. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. You stop trying to please everyone because you realize peace is more valuable than approval. You stop settling for half love because you finally believe you deserve the whole thing. That energy is powerful. It's magnetic. It's the kind of confidence that draws attention without trying. The narcissist, who once thought they could define your value, suddenly finds themselves trying to win back the very person they once dismissed. Choosing self-worth doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you start loving wisely. You no longer pour from an empty cup. You no longer confuse attachment with affection. You no longer need to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. And that, right there, is freedom. Because when you know who you are, when you no longer bend for approval, no one can manipulate you again. You become the storm they can't calm, the peace they can't disturb, the power they can't control. That's what happens when you trade approval for self-worth. The world stops owning you, and you start owning yourself. Emotional discipline is the quiet strength that separates those who react from those who rise. It's the power to feel everything yet choose how to respond. Most people think strength is about force, but true power lies in control. When you master your emotions, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, no one can use your feelings against you. The narcissist feeds on reaction. They provoke, they twist, they push buttons just to see you break. But when you stay calm, when you refuse to give them the storm they're waiting for, you take away their fuel. You become untouchable. Emotional discipline doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you no longer let pain dictate your behavior. It means you can look chaos in the eye and still choose peace. You don't argue to be understood. You understand that silence can be louder than words. You don't chase explanations. You learn that closure can come from within. It's the art of knowing when to speak and when to walk away, when to express and when to observe. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you build power. Every time you choose patience over reaction, you reclaim a piece of your peace. This kind of control takes practice. It's not about pretending nothing affects you, but about deciding what deserves your energy. Not every insult needs an answer. Not every attack deserves a counterattack. Sometimes the greatest strength is found in restraint. The narcissist wants to pull you into their emotional battlefield because that's where they win. But when you refuse to fight in their arena, when you remain centered and composed, they lose their advantage. Your calm becomes your weapon. Your composure becomes their confusion. Emotional discipline is self-respect in motion. It's the understanding that your peace is sacred. Your energy is limited and your time is valuable. When you control your emotions, you control the outcome. You stop being predictable. You stop being manipulated. You start leading your life with intention, not reaction. And that's when everything changes. Because the moment you master emotional discipline, you become the calm in every storm, the anchor that no one can shake, the strength that even chaos bows to. At the end of the day, your greatest victory isn't in making a narcissist chase you. It's in remembering who you were before they made you doubt yourself. The real power lies not in revenge, but in restoration. You rise by reclaiming your peace, your voice, your confidence. When you stop reacting and start reflecting, when you stop begging and start believing, everything shifts. The narcissist may come chasing, confused by the strength they once tried to destroy. But by then, you'll have outgrown the need for their validation. You'll walk with quiet confidence, not needing to prove anything, because your presence will speak louder than their games ever could. This journey isn't about controlling them. It's about mastering yourself. And once you've done that, no one can ever control you again, because you've learned the ultimate truth. Peace is the loudest power you'll ever possess.